There's a fine line between being a compassionate, empathetic person versus somebody that is completely abandoning themselves. I only know this because I used to self-abandon all the time in relationships, to the point where I was putting somebody else's needs before my own, making excuses for their bad behavior, constantly going, oh, maybe I could help them, I could fix this. Maybe if I love them enough, they'll love me back. That only led to more self-abandonment and resentment. So if you're finding yourself being so understanding to the point where you're missing all the red flags, this video is for you. For more videos on how to take charge of your love life, hit the subscribe button and the notification bell. First, I want to emphasize the importance of empathy. Empathy is a great quality. It is something that creates understanding and connection with another person, and it's actually required to create vulnerability. However, when you have empathy without boundaries, that's not empathy, that is self-abandonment. That's why I'm going to talk about 5 behaviors that show that you give too much empathy and how to stop it and build better boundaries. The first sign to look out for is you're the one always making excuses for them. When I find myself making excuses for bad behavior, like they said they're gonna call and they don't, or they show up late every time when they say that they're not gonna do that anymore, and I keep saying to myself, oh, they're just busy, or I'll give them some leeway. While being understanding is so important, but if I find myself making excuses for their bad behavior over and over again, that means I'm working really hard to understand them instead of them treating me well. Number 2, you feel responsible for your partner's emotions and feelings. I used to work so hard to try to keep my partner happy. Every time there was a conflict, I would turn in and say, what did I do wrong? How can I fix this? And I took responsibility for all their emotions. Guess what? It's not my job to fix this. It is not my responsibility for other people's emotions. If they're upset, if they're frustrated, it is their job to actually express those emotions to me so that I know how to treat them. So I don't have to be hypervigilant, try to read the room, try to wonder how I can make sure everybody is at peace in order for me to be calm. Instead, I've relinquished that responsibility and said, it's up to you. Let me know what I need to do to make you happy. Otherwise, I'm not going to be able to read your mind. Number 3, your emotions take a back seat. When I find myself saying, you're making a big deal out of this, or you shouldn't feel this way, or there's nothing wrong, just let it go. That's when I find myself dismissing my own feelings and emotions about a situation. That is actually when the self-abandonment begins. So I've learned now that those emotions and feelings are valuable, that I need to honor them and process them and feel them through. And then once I do, express them to the other person across from me so that they know how to treat me, so that they know my boundaries and what's okay and what's not okay. Sign number 4, your needs get postponed, meaning you're constantly prioritizing your partner. And I used to do this. I used to say, oh, well, I'll wait till he gets in a better place. I'll wait till he's in a better mood before I'll talk to him. All I was doing was avoiding a conversation and avoiding conflict. In reality, conflict is a good thing because it allows 2 people to get into conversation, create a compromise, and meet each other's needs. However, because I kept dismissing my own needs by postponing, I started resenting my partner, getting really angry, and then when it was too late, I would blow up. I now understand how important it is to express those needs in the moment when a boundary is crossed or there's an issue. This way, there's no resentment, there's no pent-up anger. We can resolve the situation quickly and move on and be happy as a couple. The 5th sign is that you're emotionally exhausted. That's right, you keep bending over backwards, you keep giving the person leeway, you keep becoming so understanding to the point where you've lost all of your own needs and they're not being met and you're frustrated and you're emotionally taxed. If you're finding yourself suffocated and emotionally drained in a relationship, that's a sign that you're giving way too much and that you need stronger boundaries. So now that you know the signs, let's talk about how you can stop self-abandoning. First, I want you to practice parallel empathy. What does that mean? I can understand another person's perspective while also honoring my own. When somebody cancels on me last minute, I can be understanding and say, okay, they're overwhelmed at work, and at the same time say, I'm disappointed and my time matters. The second thing you can do is set clear boundaries. I found that boundaries actually create a deeper connection, right? It allows two people to meet each other's needs. Anyone that sees boundaries as betrayal is a red flag. You need to filter them out of your life. So in this situation, I might say, I understand work is overwhelming. I totally get it. However, it's really important for me to have clear communication so I understand what to expect when you tell me you're going to be there at a certain time. And if you notice, the "and" here in that statement is very important. Why? Because it allows you to be understanding to the other person and honor your own self needs. The third thing I want you to pay attention to is your nervous system. How are you feeling in your body? I know when I'm self-abandoning and I'm people-pleasing, I usually feel a tightness in my chest. I feel shortness of breath. That means I'm not honoring my needs in some way. I need to ask myself, why am I feeling this way? What need is missing? What am I not expressing to the person across from me? Because in order for them to know how to treat me, I need to be able to express those needs. The fourth thing I want you to pay attention to really deals with mindset. You need to be able to balance understanding with accountability. I realize in order to keep people in my life, I need to make sure that I don't exempt them from accountability, because if they're constantly showing late, if they're constantly disappointing me, I need to say something so that I hold them personally accountable for their behaviors. That's the only way that I can keep them in my life. So if I don't say anything and I get frustrated or I constantly dismiss and ignore, then that's on me. It's just important for me to hold myself accountable for expressing my needs as much as I hold them accountable for their follow through. For all you empaths that are watching right now, I feel you. I'm an empath too. I understand it's hard to not want to give, take care, and love somebody as much as you can when you care about them. If you're struggling with creating boundaries, I'm here to help. Go visit me at amythedatingcoach.com. I have private coaching programs to help support you become more intentional and conscious with your dating. Again, thank you so much for joining me today, and I will see you in the next video.